In this video, I will give you the inside baseball track to answer the question, are my website problems due to Magento or to my agency? But I'm actually going to take it one step further, as there may be a potential third culprit. One of the most frustrating feelings in e-commerce is like you're treading water. Bug fixes, system updates, and outages consume your entire budget. And when you finally have space to work on something cool, it's released only to have to spend more time cleaning up the bugs. You long for the day when you aren't treading this water and are instead pushing out incredible optimizations. You're looking for solutions. Your agency often mentions Magento's complexity, but then you think back to vanilla Magento, which is easy to update and runs quite fast. And you're also hearing about other platforms like Shopify or BigCommerce that, at least on the surface, sound cheaper. And then you think, well, could this agency actually have a point? In today's video, I will ask a series of questions that will lead you to the answer. And it's easier than you think to get to this answer. So if you're ready, let's start by talking about your agency partner. How well do they get your business and e-commerce project? How often do we have this back and forth to understand even the most seemingly basic requirements? The answer to this question reveals their ability to understand your business requirements and craft features that match this. Additionally, having to explain everything, like even providing them, as I've heard sometimes, with help documentation articles that, well, they could have found themselves, means the money you're spending is not going to give you what you need. If they don't get or understand your business, the features that they build will not be as you wanted, and you're going to waste effort and money with constant corrections. In other words, this treading water level is only going to rise. So question number 2. How do new features and updates affect the website? Do they cause further problems and slowness, or are you actually able to achieve optimizations and efficiencies as a result of these new features? This second question evaluates your agency's software development lifecycle, or SDLC. Those with a quality team and well-defined QA processes are unlikely to worsen your experience. It'll at least stay the same, and ideally it will get better. You want a process that lowers this water level and does not make it rise. Question number 3, how proactive is the agency in identifying threats on one side or opportunities on the other side? The answer to this third question shows us 2 things. Number 1, how capable is your agency? And number 2, how much time are they actually investing in your account? So threats and security updates are the basic hurdle. Opportunities really are what we are wanting to see here. When I say opportunities, I mean presenting techniques to increase your conversion rate or make the website easier to use. And I'm not talking about hounding you to retheme or to move to a different platform. That's called sales. And question number 4, how willing are they to help you be autonomous or explain concepts to you or even collaborate on next steps? In the most sinister and inside baseball of terms, agencies make money by selling hours, or sinister because they want to sell more hours. And so if they can make you dependent on them, then they can sell even more hours. Or if they help you be autonomous, then the long-term outlook is that they actually make less money. So to sum up these 4 questions, and identifying the answer to each one of them is up to you, but here's a couple of things to think about. So what does an answer look like? It's your agency's problem. If they don't understand your business, perhaps they're adding to your overhead, they're not proactive, and they don't enable you to be autonomous. A poor agency experience will increase your monthly costs, and you will just tread water with adding no value whatsoever. But on the other hand, it might not be your current agency. Unfortunately, many builds were done poorly by one agency, then you chose a new agency due to problems, and that new agency has now inherited a tremendous amount of baggage. That baggage can last for years because the priorities exist such that there's no real opportunity for them to clean up that baggage, and it just persists. So even if they pass the test on these questions, they may still be weighed down by the previous agency's bad decisions? So these 4 questions will help you identify if the source of your website's frustrations might be more on the agency side, but it's not fair just to stop there. We need to also evaluate, is Magento the right e-commerce platform for you? And so let's start out with question number 1. Do you find your monthly maintenance costs acceptable? While this is often weighted about 70% toward your agency, as they're the ones that are customizing and maintaining Magento, the other 30% is somewhat Magento. So merchants using Magento open source often think of it's free, right? You go to GitHub, you download it, and you can use it. It is not free.
It's just you and me now, little Penny.
Even if you're paying for Adobe Commerce, there is still upkeep. For every customization, for every third-party module, there are additional maintenance costs. You got PHP version upgrades, security patches, PCI security scans. It all adds up. It all has an effect. Now, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And we look over the fence at Shopify or BigCommerce, and we see there is negligible maintenance costs. You rent the software, and in fact, it's been so sexy that Adobe has its own version of Adobe Commerce as a Service, which is SaaS. Yeah, we all understand your ability to customize is just a little less, but you'd be surprised as far as how much things can still be customized. That said, I'd be lying to say everything is just as easy to customize as it is in Magento. There are a couple things that are far harder to customize, and those are usually the reasons that drive merchants back to Magento. Or the other reason to stick with Magento is if you do want full ownership over your code, the experience, everything is under your control, and there are good reasons for that. You're okay with the additional expense of that, then Magento is a good platform for you. I say this just as a reminder because we have to still and always answer this question of, is Magento the right platform for me? If you move to another platform, there will be a significant upfront cost to make this transition. While looking in the rearview mirror, you see these sunk costs behind you, and it's like, do I stick with this platform, continuing to invest in it, or do I make the switch to something else, sacrificing a little bit of ability to customize? This is a business decision, and to be frank, something that we would be happy to help you identify and project to see what is the right path for you going forward. So this idea of maintenance costs is the most significant driver to answer this "is it Magento" question. But let's look at another determining factor. Question number 2, are you frustrated by the level of effort it takes to make a small change or install a module? It feels like there's so many steps. You have vetting, you have to then have the developer install it, you have to QA it on staging, QA it on production, and you can't do it yourself. Again, looking over the fence, the grass is greener on the other side. What we cannot forget is Magento is an enterprise-grade e-commerce platform. There is no getting around that. This means you will have more overhead. Some of this is actually a good thing, believe it or not. Installing apps on production without first testing them on a staging environment is, I would say, super bad, especially in the Magento space. Except with Shopify or BigCommerce, it's just harder to break them. Software as a service, even with these apps. So I would put it as in the very not advisable category, but I wouldn't say it's like super bad. This is an advantage that these other platforms have on Magento. Magento is from a mid-market to even a smaller merchant level. Magento just costs more. As you get up into these bigger spaces, you need more processes, and the Magento system fits better in with bigger processes. So, is it Magento? Possibly. Remember how I told you I would give you the third culprit? It's you. Though I do find this to be a far smaller percentage than you would think. Let me help you self-identify the answer here with 2 questions to wrap it up. Question number 1, how flexible are you in running proof of concepts before going custom? I just recorded a video about using an app or going custom. Feel free to check out the link up here. Start cheap, start small, prove the feature, and then go big. Some cases you won't be able to start with an app, but perhaps you can build it in phases. You will find some features then just don't get the necessary traction and they can be removed. Others are the game changers and thus they're worthy of ongoing investment. So starting small, you can do it more with your budget. But question number 2, do you allow your agency to be proactive or have a say in the priority list? In most cases, this is less about you than your agency. However, the good agencies, they're asking to bring a few hours a month to the table to offer suggestions and optimizations. And in some cases, I've seen examples where merchants turn them down, and that's not great. If your agency wants to be involved in determining priorities and you just hand them a list of what to do, and then you're disappointed in the results because they're exactly what you said to do, but you haven't given them space to really flex their knowledge and their e-commerce muscles, then it kind of does fall back on you a little bit. So let's summarize this conversation as far as what I see in the market as a general rule. And I would say 3 out of 5 times it's the agency. Poor development practices, no strategy, reactive conversations, and poor project management. But then 1 out of 5 times it's the platform. Yes, Magento is complicated. It may be more than you need, but I find it's more up to the agency to steward this power and less the platform's fault. You will find case studies on every major platform out there: Magento, Shopify, BigCommerce, Shopware, name the top 10, and they will all have case studies, merchants switching from platform to platform. Doesn't mean one platform is better than another. Shopify's done phenomenal with their marketing. They have a huge market share, but for the right merchant, Shopify is not a good fit. Or for the right merchant, Shopify is a fabulous fit. It's a matter of each merchant, what fits best for them, and the agency to help steward the power of the platform. And that is one of the benefits that Shopify especially brings in, also somewhat BigCommerce, is it means the merchant has less dependency by default on the agency. And that's why I believe Magento has a little bit worse of a reputation, just because it means a merchant is more dependent on the agency, and thus it's up to the agency to make it a great experience. And then to wrap this up, 1 out of 5 times it's you. Yes, you do have a good amount of influence over the engagement. You hired experts though. They are supposed to help make this project a success. But if you're hamstringing them and not allowing them to really do what they're here to do, then yeah, that is something to consider. If you're interested in more information about the long-term prognosis of your website, I would be happy to help you. In fact, I wrote my very first e-commerce platform over 20 years ago, myself at the age of 13 or 14 years old. In fact, it transacted over $500,000 in revenue. I've been in this space for a while, and I would love to help you provide some guidance as far as what does it take to establish a really profitable long-term prognosis for your website. Shoot me an email, joseph@swiftotter.com. I would love to set up a call with you. I can understand your pain points and help you identify resolutions in that call right there. And so instead of treading water and even sinking in this massive technological river stream, I would love to help you navigate it and also figure out how to lower the levels of this water.